if you can exit out of the city before maturity, and the only downside of that is you won't get the most of the interest, but your principal is protected, which means whatever you put in is protected. You get that back.
Tax-free.
It's not all treasury are tax free. It is federally, not to pay taxes, but locally you may have to pay taxes. But municipal bonds is one that will be completely tax free, especially if you buy from Oregon, if you live here.
ETFs, I'm not sure of that, I've heard it before.
Okay, so think about a mutual fund, right? A mutual fund, you buy from the fund company. That's the only way you can buy. An ETF, you buy on the market. You trade on the market. It's the exact same thing as a mutual fund, but you buy it in the market. You can buy and sell. Okay. All right, let's talk about investments. So this is what is called a asset, different target asset allocations. Okay. And so if you're a young guy, where do you think you should be? Aggressive.
Super.
And you know what? If most people, it depends who they are. If you are like if you're not retiring in 5 years, I always tell them 100% stocks. All right, because that's going to be your maximum. You're going to be really in there, and then you're going to be making not as much. And the reason why I always tell people that, because we know just is math, right? From the since 1926, since we had data on the market, in any 16-year time period, the market has always been positive. In any 10 years, that comes out to about 93. In 5 years, it's about 85%. Okay. So depending on where you are, and this is where also the reason why I brought this, you can kind of see the different returns, right? And this is including 50% bond. Is best 136% in the 12 month, right? But also, just keep this in mind. I love volatility. Why? Because if it goes up, I make a lot. If it goes down, I'm also going to lose, right? You got to be okay with losing. And the investment portion of it is not the emergency fund, guys. If you don't have an emergency fund, forget about this. We're not talking about this. We're talking about this only after you have your emergency fund. Because let's say in a year, let's just say you have $10,000 in there, and now you have 4,000. That's the part of the soul. The most stupid thing to do will be, oh my God, I lost 6,000. I'm gonna take 4,000 out. Don't do that. That is absolutely stupid, especially if you have way more time to your retirement. Don't do that. Okay.
Are these like, for example, with 136%? What year was this?
That's the annual. That's the average annual return from the when market started. That's
Till now?
Yeah, till now. Average annual return.
60% divided by -60. Retired just after that market.
2022 was a bad year. All right, terrible in the market. But 2023 was pretty good. So, anyways, you guys anybody understand what compounding interest means?
Interest heavily on interest.
Okay, exactly. Okay, pretty good. I just want to make sure you get that picture. It's a very important picture. Okay, so this is another thing I tell people. I have a lot of clients like, oh, it's the election. I don't want to invest my money. Well, what's your reason? There's always an election. What's it like? Did you invest in the last election? What election before? Did you invest? What won the one before? You didn't. And if you keep going, they're like, yeah, I actually did. So I'll show them this picture. It's not about timing the market. It's about your time spent in the market. Right? It's also about that relationship. So they just say, oh, I'm going to. And by the way, most strong professional, we don't try to time the market either. No, that's not what's good. So if you started with $10,000, this is a very powerful picture. And you try to time the market, and you miss the 5 best days in the market. Look how much you leave on the table, right?
Oh, that's from 1982 to 2022.
Right. Okay. An average return on the S&P 500. Right. So that's why I tell people, well, let's just say, this is another picture I tell people. In 2008, you know, the market went down 50%, right? So bad. Imagine if in 2008, like, oh, my market went down, I took all my money out, I'm gonna wait till the market goes come back up again. You probably put your money back in like 2013. You missed out on almost 200%.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of things. And those who are young here, I want to show you this picture because it's so important. If you're young, the power of the compounding interest makes like, you know, the longer you have, the better it is. If you're 18 years old, or you started 5,000 invested each year. I mean, this is like very, I will say, conservative. Because the average in the market, if you looked earlier, about 9%, right? So if you start early, because of compounding interest, your growth is, I mean, who is it? You're like 19, right? I mean, if you take advantage of this thing, like, it's all in power to you. So.
I mean, again, being devil's advocate, 18, does he have $5 grand extra to invest?
In a year?
Maybe in a year, that's doable. That's about 100 a week, if you think about it. About $100 a week.
You know, if he makes 50 grand, that's 10% of his income.
Yeah.
And, he's turned lower. It's, you can do it, but there's other things, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have to be very disciplined to be able to do that. That's
No,
the key
absolutely.
is here. You've got to be disciplined to make it happen, but the payoffs are good.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And that's why I started with the EPG, right? That you need to have your emergency things covered, you need to have the budget, all those things that we talked about, they build on each other. You don't get here without doing it, the principle that we discussed, right? Okay, any questions so far? No? Okay. All right. So there's a couple of solutions out there. For people, I think the easiest one is called a target date fund, all right? And that is just investment that looks at your age and tell you you're gonna retire at 2040 or 20 whatever. And you put your money in there, they do it all for you, it's all diversified. One thing I always tell people is, like I mentioned, it's quick cutting. If you don't want to do anything super easy, you can just do that. But if you want to be a little more cognizant or you want to think a little bit more about it, there's all better options. The reason why this is easy for folks is not to think about it. So with this one thing I always tell people is every year as you get older, it's selling stocks and buying bonds. And as you get to retirement, you'll have maybe your portfolio be like maybe 70% bonds and only 30%. And it will keep going until like you get to your retirement age. The next option is index funds. Anybody heard about index fund?
Like S&P.
Exactly. Just investing in the S&P 500, following it, and there's very, very cheap options there. Other part is mutual funds. You gotta go. Okay. And mutual funds as well. You can invest in that.
Mutual funds is basically where you're putting funds in with multiple groups and you don't get any of the negative drop from it, but it's just growing. So what is a mutual fund?
A mutual fund is investment where it's a pooled amount of money. So for this is for all of us here, and I'm the fund manager. And I got all your money and I focus on a specific strategy. Let's just say I invest only on large cap equities, and that's all I'm going to do, buy large cap equities. It's a fun product, right? The only thing that, and you want to hold that in your retirement accounts because it does generate some tax things if you keep it in your brokerage. And the reason why is, let's just say Josh wants his money now. I, as a fund manager, need to go and sell so I can give his money, and that creates the taxable event, and that gets, if you use a tax deferred account like a retirement account, it wouldn't matter, but if it's in a brokerage account, you want to be cognizant of that.
And just one point, the mutual fund doesn't guarantee you're not gonna lose money.
Right.
Just to get back to this original question.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't just get the outs, you've got to
Mute
get
it.
You will
the
definitely get it down.
Just-
Everybody just put the money there. I don't lose money? Okay, great.
Mutual is like buying a basket of different
Yeah,
big
the fund
investments.
manager, like the fund manager is like in large cap equities. I will buy, the Coca-Colas of the world, Amazon, the Metas, like that's the large cap, and that's the focus, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of different fund managers have different strategies. So it's usually it's in the name of it. We tell you U.S. large cap or international large cap or international small cap. It's in the name. You'll know what the strategy is. And if they deviate from that, they're in trouble. So they can't really deviate until they. I'll just show you guys some ideas on the screener that I use. Here. So, like I said, there's a lot of different, if you want to look at index funds, you can come here and look at that. And you also, Fidelity offers some zero funds, which means you don't pay a single, it's not all of it, so you guys can see it. You don't pay any fee in there. Alright. So, if you look at the expense ratio, absolutely down to zero, and this is a year's large cap. If you want to see some what investments they invest in, alright, so you can see Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, things of that sort. And that's an option right there. We kind of looked at how you sort of asset allocation, so that's one piece. And you have a total market in there. Let's see, that's pretty much it. That's the Fidelity one. But if you want to look at all of them that we offer, you can come here. And Fidelity will always show theirs first. You'll see that here. This is the Fidelity S&P 500, the one that followed the S&P 500. Last year the market did pretty good, so right about 28%. But let's take a look at that. Should we get what it looks like?
So are you charged fees if you're going the mutual fund route?
What's that?
Are you charged a fee?
No. So this is the expense ratio right here for you that you're gonna be paying 20. I mean, it's so small. It's like it doesn't matter. But let's see. This is performance.
Well, how would Fidelity make their money if everyone put it in that one fund?
What's that?
How would Fidelity make any money if everyone put it in the?
So that's the thing about Fidelity is that we have the 401k business, the biggest 401k business in the US. We have a lot of other solutions where we make our money. The reason why I offer this small thing is they want you to come to Fidelity, right? And your money's gonna be here. Whereas Fidelity, so we manage about $11 trillion. It's pretty big. But anyways, this is kind of give you an idea. You're trying to follow what the S&P does, right? That's what the index fund does. So last year 28.18, S&P was 28.19. So the idea is you're trying to track what the index does, okay? And let's just say you want to come here, you want to look at if somebody wants to generate income. Does that mean you're going to be getting paid a dividend? You can come here and look at it. Different sectors. Any question on anything here so far?
Would it be possible for you to send us this link in the group chat too, so we can do our research later?
Yeah. And you guys want to see what Fidelity thinks? There's 300 funds that Fidelity thinks are really, really good, and they do that every quarter. They get together, they put it together. And here they will always show you. If you see the sign here, the Fidelity logo, that's theirs, obviously, right? And then anything else, we carry other funds, right? There's BNY, there's so many different funds that are around here. What I personally do is 3 years, I think is a little, not too long. I always look at 5 year. And just you have a couple competitive 1 year, you got 24% over 5 years. It's pretty good. 20% over 10 years, pretty good. And another thing you also want to think about, you also have the expense right on that column, so you can see whatever you are paying, right? So if you pay, if let's just say over 5 years, it's 24 plus 5.5. I will take away the net of the fees. You can see that there. But yeah, those are all different investments that you have available. And I'll show you one of my favorites. because I'm very bullish on semiconductors. My favorite fund right now that we have. This fund alone has made me quite a bit of money. I really love this fund, and I'll show you why. Again, this is how much is up this year, 42%. Okay, you kind of know what the market is up this year?
11, 10?
Yeah, 11, 15 actually. It was 15 last time I checked. But last year the market we saw did 28%. Amazing year. Actually, the market, that's fantastic year for the market last year. Let's see here. Right here, S&P did 28%. The semiconductors did 59%. Oh my gosh, you made a lot of money. So this is one fund that I really like. If you don't want to be researching every single semiconductor company, you want somebody that does it for you. This is a great fund. It's kind of gave you an idea why I'm so bullish. If you started with 10,000 back in 20, I think it says 2015 or 2014 actually. You said it's good.
What happens if China attacks Taiwan, though, what would it do then, you think?
I think it wouldn't matter. Here's why. I'll show you the composition here. Right? It does have, there's a Taiwan semiconductor that you see here, about 5.95%. But that's one portion. Obviously heavily weighted on NVIDIA, right? We got about 25% in there. And Lam Research, you probably guys heard about Lam Research, not too far from here. And I think you'd have a little bit of Intel in there as well. So that's the biggest, let's see, here was Taiwan is 86%, 6%, 6%. Most of the companies are here in the US. So if China attack Taiwan, yeah, all right, sounds good.
They attack us, and a little different story.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
It's gonna hurt a little bit, but it's not gonna be the end of the world. Like in our financial terms, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like it's a good thing that China's not.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to advocate here.
Yeah.
We're just trying to show you.
Yeah, it will drop more than 6% if that happens, though.
It will drop. It will cause. I mean, it's just like.
Yeah,
Joe-
but it's
Joe
not
Coco.
just this that will drop. It'll be
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
things,
A lot of things will drop. because it's
and
just
that would
like
be a
Joe
great
Coco.
buying opportunity for
Yes, exactly.
everything across the board.
Exactly. Just like when a couple years ago when Russia went into Ukraine, we saw a little dip in the movie market. Sometimes what I tell people, I can get very in the details, but what I always tell people, if you like picking stocks and researching stocks, sometimes things will happen in the market and the market will go down. But then if you look at the companies, something happened to the company. What I mean by something happened to the company? Did they lose the CEO, or are they losing sales, or are they not spending enough money in research and development? Like look under the hood, read the financial statements. I'm sure you've seen some of those, and it's called fundamental analysis. And if you look into that and all checks out, and that's a strong buying opportunity in my opinion. And that's what I tend to do. I do like to pick stocks on my spare time, and it's just a lot more research, right? I don't want to bore you guys with that. I'm going to just keep it high level with mutual fund, ETFs, and things of that sort. But yeah, any other questions here?
Yeah, I have one, but it's an overall question. Let's say you save your 6 months of expense. Does that mean after the 6 months is done, do you zero on your savings and put everything on investment, or do you keep on putting some more in savings in case like something in 2008 happens, so you have more money to invest somewhere else? Or I guess would you rather than just throw like in different bonds and stocks and all these different things?
No, I always have so once my emergency fund is built, I don't add any more money in it.
Okay.
Right, because the emergency fund, because what I really want to tell people is that because people are happy with what the interest rate are now. Because if you think about it back in I want to say 2018, do you guys remember what the interest rate was? Like you're getting nothing, right? Like less than 1%, right? So the emergency is definitely emergency. You're not getting anything. So if you just keep any money you add on top of that, is money that's money that's losing money, right? Because you factor in inflation. So if you have any other money that you already have your emergency fund covered, you already have your expenses covered. One, I also keep a little bit. Even when I put money in the accounts, there's a cash position that I keep in just you never know something like when COVID happened, I had some cash on the sideline, and I put money when I bought a lot of stuff when it was down like 30% for no reason. So definitely keep the cash option in there. But yeah, I usually tell people keep, depending on what your asset level is, but about 10% that you can leave it in cash. And when I mean by cash, you put it out in something like a treasury, or you put it in a CD, right? Not just an actual cash, but something that would actually get you a little bit of interest still. Yeah. Any questions? Any other questions?
Okay, so if you have, say, a low performing but safe investment for when the market takes big dips, you can get the money, I'm speaking more for retirement. So you can have, when the market takes big dips, you can take it out of lower period ones instead of the higher period ones. Is that the way to get it?
What is it?
Oh, so like,
So you have different stocks and stuff?
yeah, so we got like several years worth, about 2 years worth of funds in close to cash, but a little bit more. And then when this big dip happened, we started withdrawing from
The cash account.
cash ones.
Rather than investment.
We didn't use the stocks and
Right.
stuff that we more volatile.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want to do. That's exactly what you want to use. So if it's not because that bucket of stocks is the growth bucket, right? On the EPG, right? If the growth bucket is going down, you don't want stocks to grow because that's a vehicle to that. You want it to go up, so you're definitely going to take it from the P bucket, from the protection bucket. That's what it's served during that time. And when the markets start going back up, obviously that's when the growth is actually working in your favor. And that's what you want. Yeah.
It's a two-part question. The first one is, what is your takes on investing a lot on stocks that pay dividends? And is seeing increasing dividends always a good thing?
Okay. So companies do that because it's pay dividend. There's two ways to look at it from like two ways to look at it. If company keeps more money instead of paying dividends and put it in what is called research and development, it's a good thing, right? Especially if something good comes out of it. I mean, the company's growing. Some companies are not growing. They pay dividends, all right? They give it out. They don't have any good product to put into. They give it out. So how the market, there's two ways the market reacts. If the company is growing, putting money in and not paying any dividend and putting in research and development, this is great. So a lot of growth stocks don't pay dividends. So a lot of investors like that. But if a company is paying dividend and increasing dividends, that's also good market sentiment because they're making enough money to do pay dividend, right? And that's the market likes that, and especially if it's increasing dividends. But if you start seeing any, especially for CEOs, they don't want to be reflected as bad. So they're very reluctant to cut dividends. They're very reluctant to even slow it down. So pay attention. Sometimes instead of some CEOs, instead of paying cash dividend, they will pay into like shares. They will give you like like literal shares instead of actual cash. So those are the two ways they can pay it off. And there's another easy trick also that CEOs do to kind of boost the share price of their shares. They just start buying back shares in the market as well. It's just, I mean, you gotta, so a normal person who doesn't like really just follows the stuff, but when it really, oh yeah, the market, the shares went up. Well, you gotta say why. You have to go look, because there's a lot of things CEOs can do.
One thing I read this too. It's the price of a share. It doesn't really give you any information. Honestly, you have to look more at the PE ratio and actually look into deeper into the hood versus, because based on what I read, like, you know, a shirt could be $100. It might be very expensive to you, but it's actually a really good company to buy versus a shirt that costs $20
Yeah.
and you think it's really good, but it's not really performing as good as the one that's $100. So how do you?
Yeah, share price,
Yeah, so-
I'll show you guys this one, and this is what is crazy about it. Me and a couple of years ago, we were just laughing and joking about it, like, cause yeah, that was 2020. Berkshire was under, like, it was 261. We're like, oh yeah, you know, wouldn't it be great if we just sold a house, but put all that money in there? right? And hence, I think I'm like, oh, we should have definitely done that. But we didn't do it, anyways. But yeah, the price of a stock doesn't mean anything in a sense, but it also means something. What I mean by that is, a couple of years ago, Nvidia was like nothing, right? The reason why the price of the stock will increase is because it provided a lot of value. If you see a stock price going up, like significantly, it's because it provides a lot of value. Anybody not know this company?
It's Buffett, it's
Okay,
Buffett.
Warren Buffett
Warren
is the
Buffett.
one who runs this. Obviously, yeah, he did lose Charlie earlier, but he's still around, right? And Warren Buffett does a phenomenal job, and I like a lot of stuff he says, you know, and I agree with a lot of things he says. So one of his principles is that if you don't see yourself owning the company itself, don't buy the stock. It makes perfect sense. But anyways, yeah, look at that went from 200 to like $600,000 for one share. So that's pretty crazy. But if you still want to pay, there's also for the little guys, right? I'm like that Berkshire Hathaway thought about the little guys, right? It's pretty much the same thing, but hey, a lot more affordable. That's actually a stock that I didn't know.
Is it the same growth rate?
Yeah, similar, yeah.
So 2020, 2022 is it triple the price.
Let me see. Yeah, I'll show you.
Oh wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you're gonna do big individual stocks, you really need to know what you're doing. That's
Yep.
why, like I said, stick to mutual funds,
Yep.
ETFs. Those are perfect solutions for you guys. They work very well.
Yeah.
There's trillion and trillion dollars in those solutions that work very well. If you're gonna do personal individual stocks, we do those. And for us, that starts at a $500,000, and then you have a lot more leeway. There's a lot of things that you could invest in that. Literally the same solution as a like a mutual fund. But instead of being you go into the fund, it's called an SMA. You actually have a fund manager that buy all those different stocks on your name, so you're not dealing with anybody else. It's like instead of riding a bus, you take an Uber. That's how I tell people. So, but again, that's like when you're at a higher dollar amount, you can have the different strategies that work well for you. But for the majority of people, mutual funds, look at it like this: you're starting mutual fund and ETFs. As you grow, you get to this assets level where just like how we looked at that graph, you will get there because of compounding interest, right? Then you can look at more specialized, different investments for you.
I think the biggest thing for me was just like to dip your toes, dollar cost averaging, get an account set up, figure out what you don't need weekly or monthly, even if it's a $50 a month thing.
Right.
If you have $1,000, it's better to make $100 purchases than it is to dump 1,000 on one day. You'll do better over, a small, unless it's a 30% down day,
Sure.
then maybe that 1,000. That's a good
Absolutely.
investment,
Absolutely.
to dump that 1,000 on
Yeah.
that day. But dollar cost averaging, over time is way more. No one can time the market.
Yep.
There's always swan events. There's,
That's a very good concept that he's talking about. Dollar cost averaging is investing the same amount of dollars every time.
you can just set it up and forget about it, and it'll pull it right out of your account and invest $50 weekly or monthly or whatever you're comfortable
The
with.
reason why that's important is if the market is down, you get more shares, but your cost goes down, right?
Yep.
your cost basis. But if the market's up, you might get less shares, but then your cost is higher. So over time, it will even out
Yep.
your cost.
And it's time in the game.
Exactly, time of the game. That's
So
time
you
of the
should double your investment in 7 years, you know, mathematically.
market. You should.
you know.
That's the rules.
So-
Any other question, guys? I know you gotta go at 3. I try to be cognizant of that.
One last question, but
Yes.
can you buy a fraction of a share?
Yes.
Yes.
Even if the one's 600,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Fidelity, so different platforms you gotta look at. I know, TD Ameritrade, they offer, but Schwab doesn't, so, we do offer the fractional shares, not all, platforms offer, fractional shares. Any other questions? Hope that was useful.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
So, number stop it?
Yep.